Hello, hello. This is so exciting. Day 2 of Alive with some of my speakers from Healthy Mind, Healthy Body. This is so exciting to me. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I can't even begin to express my gratitude. There are people from around the globe signing up every day, every hour. This is incredible. And the testimonies coming in from just 2 days of our interviews are incredible. So first and foremost, you guys are amazing. And I just want our listeners to get to know each and one of you just a little bit more. So I want to start off by telling everybody that doesn't know much about Healthy Mind, Healthy Body, how the madness started. So I wrote this book about a year ago, about a hard time that I went through. And I decided to run a masterclass series around that book and brought together experts from around the globe to bring it all together and to show people that getting your health in order may not start where you think it starts. So first and foremost, I want to thank Valeria, Irina, and Kristen for joining me today, but I'm going to pick on Valeria first and say, darn it, I need to know, why did you say yes to my madness? When you heard my story, what intrigued you to join this awesome series?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. And second of all, what actually triggered me is the whole story, how you went through your roller coaster drive, but you also overcome it and pick it up and what you learn about this. Because as we all facing the difficulties, life never stops. Come on. Oh, I don't know if we're allowed to swear or not, but things happen.
There you go.
Things happens. Nobody preventing, and world is always rolling. Life is always rolling. Either you lying in a bed sick, or you running like a headless chicken. So it's always there, and the point is how you come up with the strategies for yourself, the ways how it works, and what you can share from your own experience to help people who might be one way or another relating or in a different or in a similar situation, and just trying to see what's the way out of it.
Yes.
How I can do it, and if there is a light at the end of the tunnel or it's real like non-existent.
Well, isn't that the truth? Kristen, I know I bugged you a few times, my friend. What was your why for saying yes?
Yeah, I think similarly, I can relate to having been on a health journey myself. But also, I spent the first 20 years of my career as a physical therapist. And through my own experience and working with clients, just realizing that if we just focused on the physical, we were missing a big piece of the puzzle. And so I really appreciated that you were taking this holistic approach to looking at both the mind and the body. So that's really what got me signed on. And also, we just, in our first conversation, our just energy clicked and it felt so right. So just happy to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much. Irina, my friend, this girl, I just have to publicly tell the world, has been my rock through this. You, my friend, and it's like I met you in this journey, and it's incredible to me the relationships and the community that is required to do anything in life. You know, we need each other, and so many times we go through these hard times and we think we're alone, but really we have this world available to us. And you know, we call each other strangers, but we're really not. It's amazing to me that we can connect so quickly, and we have a lot more in common than we think we do. So I had to first of all say, Irina, you've been amazing, and I hope that people see how incredible you are through this journey, because you are going to change lives too, my friend. So first, tell me your why, and it's not just because I buttered you up.
Oh my God. First of all, you know what? Your words as you were expressing, because Nicole, this is something I come to the realization every day, like just thinking about, like, if we were all united as humans, right?
Yeah.
How easy that would be to walk this amazing life journey when we felt heard, when we felt helped, when we felt that there is somebody to lean on. Because like I said, in all this work that we are doing, my why is just to bring that awareness to the people that we do not have to be alone on this journey.
No.
And only society is the one that wants us to stay alone, because we were all taught to be independent. We were all taught not to ask for any help. But now we are relearning whatever was input into us, right? Now we understand that the power comes from the community, from the people who really think from their heart and really mean good for you. And it's amazing how through going through this life journey, we understand no matter which struggle we are dealing in, because it's part of the process, right? But when you have that strong community, when you
Mhm.
have these people, the guides, the coaches, the friends, whoever they are, they become your family, right? So they
Yes.
truly become your family, and you are not on this journey alone. You do not feel alone. And that was my why, just to connect people to somebody, right? Because why do we actually come out and do these summits? It's not just to be famous. It's about, like, really we have the deeper purpose and meaning. We really want people to understand that they don't have to be caught up in this 3D reality, and they do not have to condition themselves to whatever life they have. We want them to look under different glass, right? And actually have their vision clear, to understand that there is so much more to life than what we've been taught in schools and whatever we are watching in the news. So this is my biggest why. I want to make sure that more and more people understand that they are co-creating with the universe, that it doesn't matter from their upbringing, it doesn't matter their age, it doesn't matter their education. If today they decide they want to change their life, they are so powerful to do it. And that's exactly why we do all these things.
You
And
just
thank you so much.
you just hit it bang on. They have to make the decision to do it. It starts with making that decision, and it starts in the mind. And before I get on to Brenda Lee's here, I I wasn't surprised by it, but all 28 speakers all said the exact same thing of where it starts with your health. So the doctors, the dietitians, the nutritionists, the fitness coaches, the therapists, or the mental health experts, every single person said it starts in the mind. You have to make the choice to do it, and only you have the choice to do it. And if you focus on your limitations and what you feel you can't do, then that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to speak it into existence. And, to have that power, how many years ago, what my life would have looked different, like, it's incredible to me that just a small shift in perspective can change everything. Brenda Lee's my friend. We're just doing a little round table here and talking about what convinced you. Why did you say yes to me when I brought you my story and I invited you on this series? What was it that made you say yes?
Oh, that's a deep one.
Yes, it is.
So I would say a couple of different things. One, I loved your personality. I think we got on the when we had our first one-on-one, I felt like I was like having a conversation with a friend that I've been friends with for such a long time. And
Aw.
I think I felt comfortable. And I think that makes a big difference when you're trying to make these choices of like, where do I present myself and how do I present myself? And you and I, it was like really fascinating because we talked and talked, and I don't even remember for how long we talked, but it felt like we've been friends forever, and we were just catching up as friends. I think your mission and what you want to do, and it's dear to my heart. I feel the more we are able to provide people with information where they can actually start to make this conscious decisions that are more in alignment with where they are, I think it's important. And I also feel a lot of people may know or may not know what they desire, and when they start to see what other people's journeys are like and realize that, hey, my journey is not that different from the person next door, and they were able to overcome it, and they're here now. I think that's very inspiring. And I love that you provide this space to inspire others to take control over their whole body. And when I say whole body, I'm talking the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical body. It's not just one. So that's why.
Well, I'm so excited to have you. One thing I also found interesting with all the speakers, unless somebody didn't tell me, I want to say 95% of our speakers came from a bad place, and that was their drive to make, to make a change in somebody else's life. And they took a really bad scenario, a circumstance, a feeling, whatever it was, and they turned it into something good. And now I have 4 amazing life coaches on this live right now, and each one of you offer the world amazing things. And right before we got live here, we were talking about life coaches didn't exist, or a lot of, I'm sure that counselors and whatnot did, but life coaches wasn't a thing. And I can't believe what it's done for me. And I hope that people realize and see that working with a life coach changes your life in so many ways, and having that support. And sometimes, of course, we have loved ones that are there for us and can support us, but an outside perspective, it's so much, it's valuable, and it is something that can really direct you a lot easier. And because looking at something from the outside is sometimes a lot easier than when you're in the storm, right? So now I want to talk about all of our favorite parts of the interview, because I probably watched each one of them like 3 times. But Kristen, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What really hit home for you in our interview that you want the listeners to know and encourage them to join in?
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that sticks out is, I know we talked about people pleasing, and you talked about, you just mentioned having that outside perspective. Sometimes when we're going through stuff and we're relying on our inner circle for the support, sometimes there's outside conditioning or things in our relationships that influence how we show up.
Yes.
And so I think, when we talked about people pleasing and how to kind of overcome that, because that people pleasing is a place where we can get overwhelmed. And so really talking about how do you get unstuck from that overwhelm, and looking at maybe some of those patterns that contribute to it.
So true. And Valeria, we talked a little bit about that too. You want to join in on that? I can tell you might have something to add.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's actually, I can relate to what Kristen is saying, but also we talk about all the expectations that we have as to be the people pleaser, or to take care about everybody else in a family around you, your friends, your extended family, and then completely putting yourself down on your to-do list because everybody else has a priority, your work, your family, your friends, your relatives, anybody else. And then if you like enough, number 25, it's you somewhere, buy myself a shampoo. If it's 25, it can be 30 and 100. So, and what I came and saw through the years is the more expectations we have, either from ourselves or people telling us, the way we were raised is like, we expected you to work hard, you need to do this and this and this. You're trying to label and fill all the must, shoulds, have to, needs to boxes. The more you do that, the more things in your agenda.
Yes.
And I remember you were talking about how you were lying down on a couch in one of these days.
My pity party. I call it my pity party days.
Yeah, your pity party, when it was hard to move, and then you realize your family, your boys and your husband were able to do things without you being involved, and they showed you the ways we're capable of doing things. And then there was a discussion, do you want things done, or do you want things done only the way how you can do it, because nobody else can do it the same way? So,
and that was me. I don't want to admit it, but
yeah.
So that was actually what really hit home for me, Valeria, in our interview was when we talked about that. And, I think as moms, we all can speak to this, that, we want to nurture our kids, we want to nurture our families. And it, it was a huge adjustment for me when my boys grew up, because I went from this mindset of nurture, 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 take care, take care, take care, to having to step back and trusting that I did everything to make these two amazing people. And the day that I did that was the day that they just took off. And I think that a lot of us moms need to remember that we don't, controlling everything all the time may not be the best thing for our family. Brenda Lee's my friend. What stuck out for our interview?
Oh my
Out of
God.
our long interview.
So many things, but I would say a lot of what we talked about was about the importance of our belief system and the importance of us recognizing that we have the power to change.
Yes.
We have the power to change, and it's up to us. Each one of us is in our own individual journey, and each one of us is where we are supposed to be for our journey. And it's our decision. Do we want to continue? We have endless possibilities in our life, and it's our decision which path do we go towards. And also, we talked a lot about the power of breath and the importance that you can tap into the power of breath, and something as simple as a breath minute reset. Like, it's powerful. So
And
yeah,
it is so powerful. And actually that's how I found you on LinkedIn. You did another live and you released a book on how to breathe. And to be honest, at that moment, I thought I had all my speakers. And then I went through your book and then I started incorporating what you taught. And I felt a shift in a day. And now I'm breathing, I'm tapping, I'm doing these every day. And I can't believe how it's regulating my nervous system. And something, if you would have asked me 3 months ago, I would have probably laughed at you and said, it's hokey pokey. I'm not going to do that. Come on, just go to the gym, lift some weights. It's all good. But then to realize that fitness and health starts in the mind. And when you can regulate your mind, and you can bring yourself and ground yourself, that's where the magic happens. Last but not least, Arena, I know we talked a little bit yesterday, but we can pick another point or talk about the same one. What
Absolutely.
stands out for you, my friend?
You know what? I'm all talking about the energy, right? Because we all create from the energy, and a lot of people are not aware of it. But if we take out our skin, our bone, so then it's like atoms, and then it's pure energy. And that energy is creative. So we all are energetic beings. And once we have that awareness, we realize that whatever we direct our energy to, we can actually create. Right. So, and majority of people are acting from fear, where they
Yes.
always nervous about something, anxious about something, stressful about something. And guess what? They continue recreating the same scenarios in their life. And obviously, a lot of people do not even know about it. So that's the biggest like revelation, the biggest aha moment for people to really tune in and to understand that with our thoughts, with our words, with our emotions, because everything is energy and everything has its own frequency. So whatever we are vibrating on which frequency, that's exactly what we are attracting on that frequency.
It's so
And
true.
just think about it. Like when you are sitting and watching the TV and you're watching the news and you get charged up with everything what you are taking in, and you say, you know what, it's enough. I can't stand this anymore. You just take your remote and you just flip the channel. So you move yourself to a different frequency right away, and you put the Discovery Channel on, and
I
all of
don't
a
even
sudden
do that.
you feel so much better, right? Or Travel Channel or wherever. So we also have that ability to switch on the different channels that we are operating. Again, it all comes to our mind, right? Because we are the ones who can consciously command our mind to focus on something what we want, rather to continuously focusing on something that we do not want to have in our life. So this is like the biggest, and like I always say, whatever situation we are right now in our life, it's never a sentence, it's just the season. And
Ooh.
understanding that, realizing that, and understanding that there is always help available. But again, a lot of people are not even aware what these life coaches do. And that's what I always keep coming to explain. I say, you know what? They taught us how to make the living in the universities, right? In colleges, but they never taught us how to live the life. And
Yes.
that's exactly what we are doing.
Yes.
And like sometimes I get to talk to people and they're like, oh, I don't need a life coach, because they don't even understand that each person who is breathing need a life coach.
Mhm.
Every single person, because you cannot see the picture when you are the ones in the frame. And you always want somebody to look into your situation and to help you, to guide you, to go through the emotions, through the roller coaster, right? So this way you become more powerful, because once we connect to our inner strengths, which we use only 5% of it, and the rest is just like on the autopilot.
Mm.
Once we start using more of these potentials that we all have inside, once we realize the power of it, it's like such a game changer. And that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, because and I can relate to everybody in here, because we are doing it because we are so passionate. We want for people to take the lives in their hands, and not allowing the economy to control them, not allowing the boss, not allowing the partner, just to become their own leaders and lead their life to the way that they want to be.
I definitely agree with that. God did not intend us to live a life by ourselves and to do things on our own. He created a globe of people for that reason, so that we can do life together and we can help each other. Because it really is, it may be a person that knocks you down, but it's also going to be a person that picks you up. And it's really hard, because that's when the trust gets, shook up a bit, and then you kind of step back and you don't realize it. And I guess that's when it really helps to work with a life coach from an outside perspective, for sure. I wanted to add on to that, Arena. And what came to me when you were talking there was emotions feed thoughts.
Mhm.
Thoughts feed actions. One emotion can equal thousands and thousands of thoughts, and a lot irrational. So if we're basing all of our decisions on our emotions, which drive our thoughts, which can change day by day, and we're working off of that, sometimes we have to remember that bad thought that day that we're letting all these actions come from aren't serving us. Brenda Lees, it looked like you had something to add on to that. Did you have something to add on to that?
No, you, as you were talking, yes, we have to be mindful of our thoughts, especially considering that 80% of our thoughts are negative.
Ooh, that's good.
So
Yes.
as 80% of our thoughts that we experience constantly are negative, and I think it's 80%. That was the number I was gonna look. I was typing because I'm like,
can see
I'm
your
gonna
head
get
going, I know
the
it.
statistic. I'm gonna get the statistic, but I if I'm not wrong, it's around 80% of our thoughts are negative, and I think it's 90% of our thoughts. And I'll look for the statistic and I'll put it in the comments. Are repetitive. So if 90% of our thoughts are repetitive and 80% of those are negative, right? Then we have to be mindful of the thoughts as they come. And it's the energy, as Irina was saying, the energy you put into that thought, it's what makes the difference. I catch myself because I'm really more aware now of my thoughts constantly. Like once you start to work on yourself, you get to a point where you can easily detect a thought that it's not serving. And I can see myself through the day where I'm like, no, that's not true. And push that, like debunk the thought and have to push the thought aside, or choose a better thinking thought on purpose. Because I'm like constantly, these thoughts are coming. I'm like, damn, I didn't realize it was so many negative thoughts coming, until you create that sense of awareness and you realize that you're the one in control, which means that you can change that.
Kristen, we talked about that too.
Yeah, and
overwhelmed too, right?
For sure. And I think for me, a lot of it is, as much as paying attention to the thoughts, it's the meaning that we put on things.
Yes.
And it's the energy.
the narrative, the stories that we tell about different situations, different experiences, and the meaning that we create influences how we react. And so if we can start to pay more attention to the stories that we're telling, the meanings that we're holding about ourselves and about the world, then we can move from that more intentional place where we become less reactive, and can be more intentional about what it is that we want our life to be.
Wisdom and emotional intelligence. Man, I
Absolutely.
wish we were born with that.
You know what comes for me? Can I just add? It's like,
Please.
yes, emotional intelligence. Like, people don't even talk about it. And, I'm just, like observing a lot of times people just don't even talk about the emotions, like they don't even exist.
Yeah.
Like, just if we look around and observe, like at the workplace, does anybody care what's your emotions? No, just freaking do your work
Yeah.
and do it well, right? So even like with the partners, like how many men are actually the ones who express the emotions?
I married
Very,
one.
yeah, very, very, very
Thank you.
seldom. Yes, you're lucky because, because
I am.
again, it comes all to the childhood when they were told that man should not cry. It's not good, right? So it's not good to show your emotions. So they suppress all these emotions. And sooner or later, that's why the suicidal rate among the men is so high.
Yeah.
So the idea is we have to recognize that we are all emotional beings because it's part of our human experience. And once we understand that, and it's okay to deal with these emotions, and it's okay to ask for help, because again, we were told we do not have to ask for help because we are so good on our own. We are so independent, right? That's why, like I said, every person needs a coach because every person goes through the life experiences, good or bad, but you always want to have somebody by your side who is going to guide you, who is going to look at the situation and say, hey, in the moment when you're just like collapsing, that person is going to say, you know what? I believe in you. I know you could go through that because you're not the first and you're not the last. So that's why the people like us are so valuable.
Yes, and I have to second that. And teaching now for almost 3 decades, and I always say that and tell everybody my age, but for up until the last 3 years, training clients was always about in the gym. And of course, I would my saying I like to do is hard work pays off, because hard work pays off every single time. But that hard work just isn't lifting. That hard work is the hardest work is actually in the mind. And that's why when I put this series together, I wanted to show the world that I don't want to hear anymore that I'm not in shape, or I don't know how to do that move, or I don't, I have this injury, or I have this chronic illness. I can't do this. You're right. You can't, because you just said you can't. But if you say I can, like even myself, and it's funny, like I would tell every client if they had an injury that just do what you can. But do you think I could take my own advice when I got hurt? Do you think I could take my own advice when I, injured myself and maybe I couldn't work my shoulder, but I could work the rest? And I had the pity parties from that too. And I think that focus needs to come in a little bit more. Valeria, my friend, I want to talk a little bit about, because the chicken buster, you are so good with teaching people how to organize their day, because we do only have so much time in a day. And I think it's really important to realize that if you don't prioritize your day, and that priority needs to be you too, that your goals and your, what you're working towards in life may not be met. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. And also just round back to the emotional intelligence. Recently, I posted like, what do you wish you learn in school? And majority of the comments was around intelligence, one way or another, was like that they learned these skills at school already. So they knew it before they hit uni and real adult life.
Yes.
So that was really wicked that we touch upon that one. But coming back to your original questions about the prioritizing the day, indeed, in the end of the day, you can prioritize everybody else, but you need to prioritize yourself, because you are the main person in all of this equation. You are the person who is taking care of your family. You are the person who is taking care of your friends, but you also are the person who is taking care of yourself, because in the end of the day, people will treat you and do everything to you the way you do it for yourself. And one thing, it's with mothers, it's usually do what I say, not what I do. In terms of like, take care of yourself, have a minute for yourself, said the mother, turning around and starting to frantically clean the house because it's lying things down. But it's not only the mothers, it goes for a lot of people as well. I devoted my life to my work and my family. So meaning I would take care of everybody else at work and make sure they have the day off, they have the holidays, evenings free and everything, irrespective if I have to work until midnight. This was my team, people, and good atmosphere was the most priority instead of me. What it led to eventually, it almost put me in the ground in terms of I had to quit my dream job because I was so tense up already. So I needed to prioritize myself. And this is one of the things that I love to work, especially with women, because so many things are happening in our brain. I think a lot of can relate. Your husband, your partner, whoever it is, sleeping soundly, like snoring or not snoring, but sleeping soundly. And you lying wide awake and planning what you need to buy next day, how you need to dress, what you need to cook, what you need to put for the birthday party of somebody else's kid. And don't forget this, don't forget that, and so on and so on. So you, as a woman, in certain cases, our brains is wired differently. Nobody argues with that. But that's why the flip of the agenda, it also needs to be different and not only purely do. And then, oh, here I have 1 second, I have no energy for myself. So let's sit in the bathroom for 5 minutes and be quiet and consider, here I did my me time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get more than just 5 minutes in the bathroom, but no, I totally get your point. That's so true. You know, we need to remember that prioritizing our health, and that's really why I just asked you that question, is because the number one, I don't want to call it what excuse that I hear from clients and why they can't work out is because they don't have the time. And so even I talk about this in my book that, you know, always put, you know, your priorities first. And if your health isn't that, then you need to reevaluate what your priorities are, because we are notorious for putting our health on the back burner. And if you think your health doesn't start with moving your body and what you put in your mouth, then you're, you know, that's going to catch up to you. And you're going to realize quick that your health starts with moving your body and what you put in your mouth, you know, and the time. You need to give yourself the time.
I absolutely agree with that. And it's always funny to say, like, how many times we had this excuse or the sentence, it sounds so good, but I don't have time for that. And then it's usually like, for me, it's always come two things. First one is you always have a choice. You might don't like it, but you always have a choice, irrespective.
Yes.
And a second, let's do the math. 15 minutes of social media scrolling, cancel it on day, you have 105 minutes a week, which is 1 hour, 45 minutes you found straight away without any issues. 1 hour, 45 minutes, you free up canceling 15 minutes of scrolling on social media daily.
Break down your day. Actually, that was when I was having my pity parties and I decided to pull myself out of that. One thing I did is I started to break down what I did with my time. So how many hours was I spending on the couch when I was sick? You know, and I know that sounds silly. Well, if you're sick, rest. Yes. But even when you're sick, there's things you can do to better your health. And when you break down what you do in your day, you'd be surprised with how much time you can find. And I know, Valeria, we put that in as your promo, you know, find more time, learn how to get more time in your day. Well, there's only 24 hours in a day, but you'd be surprised at what you're wasting of that and what you can reclaim that serves you. Because, you know, not everything we do serves us. So when you're breaking down your day of what you spend your time doing, put a second column there and make a comment of how that serves you. So how does, and I'm, you know, if anybody of my friends are listening to this, everybody knows that I'm into politics. And these days it's a little crazy. And, you know, I did get pulled down that rabbit hole. And although it's still very passionate for me, and I will always have an opinion, and I will always fight for what I believe is right. Because I do also believe that this world is tough and we need to stand up for what we believe in. But there's balance. There's balance to how you do that. And there's balance to what real estate you let in your head. And if that real estate in your head is getting taken up with all the negative of the world, how are you going to reset for moving forward for your health? Wow, that was a powerful conversation. Good job, ladies. I'm going to pray that every single one of our listeners reach out to one of you guys, because I know all 4 of you can change lives. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what comes out of this. If anybody listening has not registered yet, it is not too late to register. You will have opportunities to watch ton more videos I'm sending out every day. And I have not released any one of these 4 ladies videos yet. So you guys, if you sign up today, we'll be able to see all these ladies as well. And I really hope you guys join us on this journey, because it's been incredible for me. And I thank each and every one of you.
Nicole, can I add something?
Please.
When you guys were talking about making time, one of the things I always tell my clients, if you don't have time, that's exactly why you need to do it. Because at some point, it's gonna, like everything, your body basically is the one that sends you the bill. It's keeping the score, right? Mm-hmm. Your body's keeping that score. And if you don't have time, if you feel I don't have time to take care of myself, I don't have time to do the inner work, I don't have time to do the journaling, the meditation, the breath work, whatever it is that you think you don't have the time, that's the exact same reason why you need to make time. Yeah. Because at some point the body passes the score.
You know, and we try to push through, and actually just what you just said there brought me back to a previous job that I was giving it my 110%. And I spend long days, 9-10 hour days there, you know, commute for an hour each way, come home, I was a finishing superintendent, ran trade meetings in my head all night. My employer didn't want me to do that. My employer, you know, wanted the work-life balance, but I chose to consume myself in my job. And that's all on me. And that was where the downward spiral started to come. And that's when my body was yelling, trying to tell me to slow down. And it wasn't until I just crashed that it was my wake-up call. So, wow, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing, Brenda Lise. Anyway.
Yeah, and yes, can I just also
absolutely.
Add that? Yes. So yes, it just all comes in the moment. So you know what? Majority of people are waiting for adversity to happen before they really pick themselves up and start doing something about it. So, and we invite you, find the time, actually attract the time, because I'm a manifestation coach. It's all about the law of attraction. Attract the time for yourself, because if you make that decision that today is the day, I'm going to register, I'm going to join this summit, and this summit is going to be the first step for me to take a different life approach and to propel me to the levels I never even thought before. This is going to be a greatest decision that you made in your life. Don't wait for the adversity to happen to actually start working on yourself and prioritizing yourself, your health, your mental health, and your physical health. Do it today. Do it now.
And you know, that is the biggest reason that I decided to keep the VIP open. I originally was only going to keep this for the 2 weeks and that's it. But I've decided that I want to keep this going, and I want to keep providing a resource for people every month to better themselves and to focus on the positive and what they can do to change. So does anybody else have anything to say before I say goodbye?
No, yeah, I want to add something. You guys were talking about like getting a life coach, getting a coach, working with someone. And I think this applies to us, even coaches, because we as humans have a lot of blind spots. And I even look back at my journey and how I have transformed my life in the last 18 months or more. And I would say I wouldn't have been able to do it if it wasn't with the support of others. I was one of those people that always thought I need to do it by myself. I need to show the world that I'm capable. I drive things alone. I can figure it out. But when it came to my blind spots, and when it comes to my blind spots, that's what they are. They're blind spots. I can't see them. And I'm a coach and I guide people through huge transformations. And still there were points in my life where I saw myself looping in some of the things that my clients were struggling. And when you get the opportunity to work with someone, and that's why there's so many different coaches out there, there's so many different methodologies. Find the one that feels home to you. Find the one that feels comfortable to you, and that talks to you. And we're all unique. There's 8 billion people over 8 billion people in this planet. There's 8 billion ways of seeing the world, of experiencing the world. And I would say, find what works for you. And there's no excuses, because there's so many different things out there that there's one for sure that will work for you.
That's powerful. Thank you so much for adding that on. But I just want to add on now. You got to sorry, I know we got to go soon, but
it's okay.
You have to figure that out. That's the thing, is that, a lot of people, and I talk about this in my book too, there's so much information coming our way all the time, but that is part of our personal responsibility. We need to decide and figure out what works for us. And there's so many options. But if you start digging deep and really believing in who you are as a person, but also deciding who you want to be as a person, and that will guide you definitely in the right direction.
And one more thing, because I'm sorry,
Women can talk.
The last one for sure. Just because you may have tried something that didn't work for you doesn't mean it didn't work for you. Mm-hmm. Meaning everything we experience in life prepares us for our next step. You doing something that didn't work for you was actually probably showing you exactly what you really need. And as a result, you're closer to finding that solution. So nothing that we experience in this world wasn't needed. We need to go through the different experience to find the path that works best for us.
Absolutely. Never quit, right?
That was powerful. Good. Yes. Yep. So
I want to add, mostly to finalize, and to first of all thank everybody who joined in and who already subscribed, because it would be amazing. But one thing, I think we talked about this, Nicole, with you. 1% of the day of 24 hours, it's 15 minutes. Only 15 minutes, 1%. And normally we always say you need to progress, just make or be 1% better than yesterday. So prioritize yourself, put it into your agendas, put it the first things everywhere, and subscribe. Use these free facilities, use all the resources, find the way, and just dedicate this 1% of 24 hours for yourself.
Thank you, ladies. I so much appreciate your time. Anybody have anything else to add?
No, all right. Just for people to keep registering.
Yes, register. It's free. There is nothing to lose, everything to gain. And I'm like I said when we started this out, the people reaching out to me from around the globe it's just so inspiring, and it's just starting. This is just getting started. So let's finish strong. Thank you so much, everybody.